Today I'm going to be working on my 1997 Fender Stratocaster. This was the first electric guitar I ever owned. My parents bought it for me for Christmas my senior year in high school. And because it was the first electric I ever played, it has significant fret wear. Besides significant fret wear, it's actually kind of crusty. I haven't played this guitar in many years. When my father passed away, I think it was just sort of coincidence. I also stopped playing this guitar. Coincidence being that, that was right around, when I got into the workforce and had money, and so I started buying more guitars. But there's nothing wrong with this guitar. There's no reason why I shouldn't be playing it. One thing that's interesting about this fretboard that happens to a lot of 90s Strats is that the poly finish actually flakes off, and so this is legitimate fret wear or legitimate playing wear on the fretboard. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do is just take the strings off. I'm going to make sure that the fretboard is straight, level the frets, and then we'll see where we go from there. So I'm using my notched straight edge here to check whether or not the fretboard is straight, and surprisingly it's actually pretty good. And so I'm not going to make any adjustments at this point. So what I'll do next is just move on to leveling out the frets. Putting the black marker on top of the frets gives you a visual representation of which frets are going to be high and which frets are going to be low. And I'm going to use my fret file here and go over it just really lightly. And what will happen is the frets that are high, the marker will come off right away. The lower spots will retain the marker. And so I'll just keep going over this, making some light passes until all the marker on the top of the frets are removed. At that point, in theory, all the frets will be at the same height, and then ready for the crowning step. It doesn't take very long with a file in order to get the frets nice and level. And what has happened now though is each of the frets has a flat spot on the top of it. And what we want to do is actually round that over. And so I'll use my fret crowning file, which does not look to be in my workbench right now, to actually smooth those out. It looks pretty good after the first pass, but I'm actually going to flip the guitar around and do this again just to make sure I don't have any spots that are flat because I'm only going in one direction. With the fret crowning done, the next step is to go across the frets this direction with some various grits of sandpaper to just really smooth out any scratches that are left over. Next step is to string it up. I restrung the guitar with 9 gauge strings, and I guess I had maybe 11s on there before, and so the tension is way, way less. So I had to spend a bunch of time kind of fooling with the bridge to kind of get it right in the proper position. But once I did that, this guitar is playing so much smoother now. I think the reason why I went up to such heavy strings is because the tension's higher. They wouldn't buzz by being lower, but now that I've leveled out and crowned the frets, you know, I don't need to do something like that. And of course, now that I don't play too much anymore, using lighter gauge strings is easier on my hands. And so, you know, that's about it. It's amazing how such a simple act of maintenance can really improve how a guitar plays. You know, as I mentioned, I really haven't played this guitar for many years. You know, I kind of wish I would have done this earlier. Doesn't mean I would have played the guitar, but at least it wouldn't have, you know, had any of the high spots that it had before. And of course, it sounds really stratty, as you would expect. You know, all your sort of blues playing of. You know, it has that, you know, the neck middle position, and then, you know, for your Dire Straits fans. What's that? So I got my guitar back. I guess it's time to play with it now that it's nice and refreshed. Thanks for watching.